Hi, it's Jan Beta, and today I want to put this Furia Accelerator card into my Amiga 600. Yeah, you know that my Amiga 600 is a bit special because it has some extras already built in. So yeah, I just want to see if the Furia Accelerator card, which is 68020 EC, is going to fit in there still, and if it is going to work. One interesting thing is going to be if this works with the Kickstart 3.2 ROMs that I put in here previously, because this is said to not play nicely with those. And in fact, on the website it says it's been tested with Kickstart ROMs up to 3.1. So we might end up putting the 3.1 ROM that this came with, actually, when I got it, back in here to make this work. But first of all, I want to see if we can make it physically fit into this with the RGBtoHDMI mod that I put in here and the Kickstart switcher that was in here, and also the little CF to SD adapter that I put in here in previous videos. I'm going to link all the previous videos in the video description so you can catch up on that if you feel the need to do so. First of all, obviously we have to open the machine up, and I'm just going to do that without further ado. So there we go. So this is basically where I left this machine. We have our SD card in here with the little angular adapter that makes the LED work and things like that. I have the RGBtoHDMI mod in here with my little Raspberry Pi sitting on top. And yeah, the Kickstart switcher that was already in here, I put a 3.2 ROM in here, and it has a 1.3 ROM. We have a 1 megabyte RAM expansion in here. I already see a problem. The Furia is supposed to sit on this little chip, which is the 68000 processor in this nice little PLCC package. And this should work with this. It should sit here in here like so. And yeah, there's very little room. So here's our problem. You can see that there's like a 2mm gap here. It might fit the socket, but I'm not quite sure if we can fit this Kickstart switcher in there still. Considering the RGBtoHDMI mod, this should actually fit because there's a bit of room. Yeah, this is supposed to sit in here like so. It is pretty cramped, but should technically work. So yeah, let's just see if we can fit it in there. I'm going to spray some contact cleaner on the contacts here just to make sure this makes good contact, and then I'm going to finagle it in there, I guess. Might just fit. So this is going to be a really cramped machine in the end. All these cables have to be routed somewhere. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work with the Kickstart switcher, I guess. I guess we are going to have to remove the Kickstart switcher after all. That's a bummer, but there's like other solutions where you can have a single ROM in there, like a flash ROM. Already bent the pins quite a bit. Yeah, I'm just going to put the Kickstart ROM directly into the Kickstart socket here, and I'm going to have to come up with another solution for this. But for now, okay, now this should just about fit in here. And you have to push it down quite a bit. But yeah, I think it's in. That wasn't too bad, actually. Let me take a couple of seconds to thank the sponsor for this video, PCBWay, my favorite manufacturer of prototype PCBs. And they have a PCB design contest currently going on that is linked in the video description. If you want to participate, you can send in your PCB designs, and there are various categories and there are huge prizes to be won. If you just want to have your PCB produced in a nice and convenient and high quality way, I also recommend checking out PCBWay's website. Check out the links in the video description. Back to the Amiga. Let's just see if it starts up. It's also hooked up to the monitor. And it should technically just boot up if our CF card and the 3.2 Kickstart ROM don't put it off too much. This is sad. The Furia is said to be very, very picky with CF cards and like SD cards, as in this case. So it might just not work correctly. So we're going to see about that. I'm just going to power this on regardless and see if we get something at least. We get a PAL signal, that's good. It's kind of... the drive is ticking, that's good. Maybe this just boots right away, that would be amazing. But yeah, look at that. It just booted right away. What's going on? That's kind of awesome. It just seems to work. So yeah, I have Kiev Fraser's Amiga test kit open up here, and as you can see, our 68020 is just correctly recognized. We have an ECS PAL system 50 Hz, that's normal. Let's see what memory it detects. Yeah, we have 2 megabytes of chip RAM. That's because my little expansion card seems to work still with the Furia. We have 8 megabytes fast and 1.5 megabytes slow RAM. That's my Furia card. 11.5 megabytes total. That's nice. We don't have to test it because the modern RAM chips on the Furia should just work. And we tested the RAM in the machine previously. Yeah, so that just seems to work, which is quite surprising to me. Actually, I was preparing for a much longer video here, but this just seems to work right away, plug and play. The reason why this works right away might be that I have a very old 265 megabytes SD card in here. The Furia is said, especially with newer Kickstart versions, to have problems with all cards, basically, that you throw at it. I've seen videos where people tried like 10 different CF cards and SD cards and different adapters and had all kinds of problems. I just lucked out here, I guess. It is just working with my SD card that I have in there. So maybe using a smaller SD card did the trick, I'm not quite sure, and I don't have many SD cards I can try with this actually. So yeah, this configuration just seems to work fine without any issues. Just plug and play and you're ready to go. There are some little jumpers on the Furia. There's one on the backside that's actually for the RAM voltages. You don't want to touch that because that is set from factory. And this one is for the RAM weight. I'm not quite sure what that is all about. I just left it in and I tried without it and it basically does the same. So yeah, I guess it's about time we do some benchmarking. So yeah, maybe let's try that. I'm pretty amazed that this just works in my configuration. I also want to try if my little RGBtoHDMI still works. Yeah, currently I have this running off the original video output through my little upscaler box. And very importantly, obviously, Turrican 2 still runs, which is kind of a go-to test I do every time I test a new Amiga, or a new peripheral for an Amiga in this case. Yeah, it just seems to work flawlessly. Had this running for, I don't know, half an hour and it doesn't get that warm. It has the coprocessor on here, FPU, as well, which is quite cool. And yeah, it just seems to work. That's a nice surprise for a change. You just need a little tool for some settings for the Furia that is called Furiatune, so we are going to install that. Yeah, in order to use CF cards, I want to get the Furiatune software on here. We are going to use the keyboard which you can just use to switch off some of the RAM in the Furia to make CF cards work, because the memory expansion in the Furia actually takes up the space that the CF card functionality uses. So you can kind of hold down Control Amiga for 3 seconds during startup, and that is going to switch off the part of the memory that is used for the CF card reader. So we are going to be able to read stuff from the CF card, I guess, after doing that. But for that purpose, we have to reconnect the keyboard, obviously. So yeah, I'm just going to do that. I hope this still fits in here as well. This is pretty cramped. Ooh. Yeah, and as you can see, this still closes up with all the expansions in place that we put in here. Nice. Yeah, let's just see. We should be able to push Control Amiga during startup and have our CF card ready to go. Which I put the Furiatune software on that I downloaded. I'm going to link the link where I downloaded it below as well. Amiga Control for 3 seconds. That's more than 3 seconds, so we should, yeah, that now it boots up, I guess. I hope. And we should have less memory now. So we now should be able to start, oh there it is, CF0. And we started our CF card driver. So I have my disk master copied on here, and we are going to now copy Furiatune from the CF card to our hard disk here. And now it's in the C directory of the hard disk, and we should be able to access it from the shell, basically. So this is the Furiatune command, and that's all it can do. What's the status? FPU is on, cache is on, IDE speedup is off, ROM mapping is inactive. We can actually use this shadow ROM to map our Kickstart ROM to the RAM, which is a lot faster than the ROM on the Furia actually. And we can add mem to add 1.5 megs of memory even. If we need that, we're not going to need that. IDE speedup is the effects are not very great, so I think we're going to leave that off for compatibility. And you can also reset to defaults, which is pretty handy. Reboot is reboot the Amiga, okay. So yeah, it is a little tool to set the status of the card and to view the status of the card. But in my configuration, it just seems to work, no problems whatsoever, which is pretty cool. So I now have connected my monitor directly to the RGBtoHDMI. And as you can see, it works absolutely no problems. So the Furia and the RGBtoHDMI don't interfere with each other or anything like that. It seems that the 3.2 Kickstart and the 3.2 Amiga OS that I installed on here work flawlessly. I didn't have any crashes. And that's kind of surprising because I heard from so many people that they had issues with this crashing after a couple of minutes in this configuration or in a similar configuration. I don't have that. It seems it just works for me. I'm not sure what I did right. And I was kind of prepared to do a video where I would show kind of working around the issues, but I don't have any issues, so I can't really work around anything. Let's see how fast our Furia card is. This is the 33 megahertz version. There's also a 40 megahertz version, but that is not a lot faster than this one, allegedly, and it needs some active cooling. This runs pretty warm, but it's works with the passive cooling that's on there. I'm using Sysinfo here, just downloaded the most recent version. As you can see, we have our memory expansion, our chip memory expansion that was in here before. That's the 2 megabytes. It detects our processor, which is a 68EC020. That's the processor from the Furia, and our FPU is also detected correctly. Let's do a speed test. That takes a while. Whoa. And it seems we are we are like 12 times faster than a regular Amiga 600. That's pretty impressive. 6,530 dry stones on here. Yeah, that is pretty good actually. So the comment is smell the rubber, because it's a pretty fast Amiga at this point. It says 36 megahertz for the CPU speed. It should be 33, but I guess, yeah, the detection is not 100% accurate, I guess. That's pretty impressive actually. And yeah, as I said, I didn't experience any crashes or anything with this. It's just a very snappy system as it is. I think some of the issues that some people have are because they use incompatible SD cards or CF cards. I'm not sure. This one is, as I said, a 265 megabyte one. It's not a large SD card or anything, so probably that helps a bit, because that should be more compatible with the old IDE interface in here. I'm also using, one issue might be the power supply being a bit weak. I think the original power supply the A600 came with is, I'm not sure if it's a 2.5 ampere or a 3.5 ampere one that the 600 came with. I don't have the original one this came with. I am using one that came with an Amiga 500 actually, and these are the strongest ones I believe that Commodore made, and these are rated for 4.5 amps on the 5-volt rail. The 5-volt rail is what supplies basically all the chips and also the Furia. The 12-volt rails are only used for the drive and for the sound mostly, and the 5 volts is the important rail, so the other amperages don't really matter. I think that might be a thing. You might run into issues if you have, even if you have an aftermarket PSU, like a newly made one. I'm not sure how much current the Furia draws. Maybe if you have another expansion in there, like the RGBtoHDMI, which should draw around 250 milliamps at the most. That's what the Raspberry Pi Zero draws. But yeah, it could maybe tip this over the edge and just prevent it from working correctly, or just make the 5-volt rail oscillate in some weird way or something. Yeah, as I said, this works absolutely no problems whatsoever for me. I've had this running for hours and it didn't crash at all. The RGBtoHDMI works flawlessly, the Furia works flawlessly. I have a WHD load installed on here and am now playing Turrican 2 from the hard disk, which is kind of amazing. Yeah, WHD load, in case you don't know what that is, I put a link in the video description. Basically enables you to play disk-based games from hard disk in a very convenient way. So that is highly recommended. You need a bit of memory and a little acceleration. Doesn't hurt for your standard Amigas, but it does work very well for older games. Even the ones that aren't compatible with your configuration, like you can run older games on the AGA Amigas or on accelerated Amigas that wouldn't normally run on those. So yeah, I guess that's it for today. Sorry I couldn't show any workarounds. This just works very well for me. I don't know why. If you have any issues and maybe have workarounds, put them in the comments. I'm just pretty chuffed with how well this system works, and the nice small form factor of this will make this a useful machine to just set up quickly in the living room to play some games on the big television through the HDMI out. Yeah, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for subscribing, for giving me some support on Patreon or the channel memberships page. I'm Jan Beta. Hope to see you again on this channel sometime. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye!